Good evening. Are we even really prepared? And if so, for what? Have we really invested enough time in thinking about what we're not prepared for? Sometimes, and hey, this might just be me, but I don't think so. Sometimes there are obvious things right in front of our eyes that we do little to nothing to prepare for and can sneak up on you. Um, and I'll tell you what, I had a personal experience this morning that was a wake up call to me. And I honestly, I don't even know how to deal with it yet. I'm still trying to I think I'm still trying to process it, and at the same time, still trying to, you know, just kind of make a game plan. So what had happened is years ago, before I met Jen, around 2013, I had an issue come up, and actually, it might have came up maybe around 2012ish is when it started. And what it was I would have, now I didn't have, those that have been around here for the show a little while know that I've battled coughing fits for a while now. That's different. The coughing fits that you guys know of is different. What happened to me back then is I had coughing fits, but I would have a certain cough, and it was like 2 or 3 quick coughs. And it wasn't super deep coughs, but they were hard coughs. And it would be like turning on a light switch. Literally. I would literally drop. I mean, it just out. And it would only be for a moment or a few seconds or, never a long time. Not ever was it a long time. And this happened, gosh, I couldn't tell you, dozens of times. And again, this is 2012, 2013. And that's actually why I quit flying ultralight airplanes, was because of that issue. I grounded myself because common sense, yo. I can't be up flying an aircraft, even though I could only fly a single place airplane, yada yada. That's still, other people's lives at risk. So I quit flying because of that, and the issue resolved itself seemingly. I had no longer had blackout episodes or anything like that. And I heavily suspected, and still could have possibly been, that it was mold that did it. Okay? And there's reasons why I had that suspicion and whatnot. So I know that's not an issue now. I am positive of that. But I think it was a combination of things, and I'm hoping it was a combination of things. Nonetheless, it's a wake-up call. And we all need to take a real close look again, because you know what we're not prepped for? The end of me. We're not prepped for that. I was in there, it just did every day, right? Normal day. I was in there, I was getting ready to sweep the kitchen. I picked up my bag of potting soil and a container that I used to mix nutrient solution in. And I was going to set it right in the bedroom doorways, get out of the kitchen floor so I could sweep. And so I picked them up, and as I picked them up, I had that cough okay? And literally, like I said, I was boom, out like a light switch. Hit the back of my head, and yes, it hurts. I do have a knot. It's not humongous or anything. I didn't bleed or anything like that. But I did smack pretty good. I probably wasn't even out a full second. I remember the cough. I remember standing up, and I remember going back. And I remembered everything going black. And then I remembered, the next thing I remember is a moment before I hit the ground. And there's one thing about me, even in this broken, beat up body of mine, I still have some just completely uncanny reflexes. They're just stupid, insane. And so I was able to break a little bit of the fall, I think, as far as trying to get my arms under me at least, and trying to lift my head up before I hit. But I did hit, and I did hit like square on right there on the back of my head. And like I say, it was a wake-up call. It was a wake-up call, because that could have ended much worse. I could have been seriously injured. I don't think I had concussion or anything like that from it. No signs of that, but I do hurt like hell. I think I'm pretty positive I jammed my neck. My neck, my shoulders are just killing me. Pain radiates down my arms. It was real bad earlier, but now it's pretty well mostly gone away, the radiating. You can do some serious damage, and I hope I didn't. I can't afford to go get it checked out or anything like that. It just is what it is. But, it woke me up to the fact that I need to prep some things in a manner in which Jen can take care of things, even if it's just in a short term. You know what I mean? If something were to happen to me. Because there's even just little tasks that would really be kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest. And so I need to go through and I need to look at all those tasks and say, okay, well, this is what I need to do in order to at least buy her some time if she needed to do this. And there's not a whole lot, don't get me wrong, but there are certainly things. There are certainly things that, a lot of it's just simply things she's not used to doing. And because she's not used to doing, it would make it that much harder. So, some things, some of it's just stuff that she may have to start practicing a little bit. So, like putting Blue's harness on. I may need to start bringing Blue's harness in here and letting her put it on. And it's not that it's that hard, but she has lack of dexterity in her hands. So it's not that it's that easy for her. It's not as easy for her as it is you and I. So that's why she probably needs to practice it a little bit. But I know she can do it, but nothing wrong with practicing. And just goofy little things. But, and then, of course, there's other more serious things that have to be dealt with in an instance like that. And to be honest, I don't even know where to begin on any of that. If I was to croak over right now, there is absolutely nothing prepared. Nothing. And that probably needs to get changed, I'll tell you what, as something I never thought about. And I'm not saying that for you, that the thing that you didn't think about is going to be the same. It may be something totally different. But go through and even look at the things that you didn't even, I'm going to be honest with you at why I didn't look at the possibility of me not being around. And the truth of the matter is I didn't want to. That's just the truth of the matter. I did not want to. I don't deal with that subject well. I didn't want to. And so I didn't. So that's why I'm saying you might want to look through your preps, and look at the things maybe you don't want to consider. You might want to consider it anyway, and then prep for it. Because, man, I think we all probably have several of those things, in all honesty. And identifying them is key. It truly is. Like I said, this has been off my radar since, 2013. Completely off my radar. Now that it has happened, I know. And so if I have that cough, trust me, it's a certain cough. It's strange. If I have that cough, then I do what I used to do, and I go down. I literally, if I'm standing up and I have that cough, I will kneel. I'll kneel and I'll get on my hands and knees. And I'll go ahead and take myself down to the ground, because if I go out, I'm already there, And many, many, many times when I said earlier that it happened to me dozens of times, don't think I fell dozens of times. I figured that out real damn quick. Once I figured out that, okay, I have this odd cough, and then I completely just black out instantly, then, yeah, it didn't take me long to figure out when I have that cough, get down. Or if I'm sitting in a chair, get over the table, whatever the case, I figured it out real quick. So I'm just going to have to do that for a while. So, and I'm going to have to look at the things that I didn't want to look at, things I didn't want to consider as possibilities, and I'm going to have to deal with them. So, it's just kind of crazy. I'm still kind of, like I say, I'm kind of processing it. I hope it's not going to be an issue. It's concerning to me. It truly is concerning to me. I think it was probably a combination of me standing up and that cough, because I do cough quite a bit now. But we'll see. We'll see. So, pardon me, I am going to make it kind of an easy night tonight. Get the headlines out of the way and stuff, because I am in a lot of pain. Like I say, my neck, my shoulders, they're wrenching. The pain's not radiating so much anymore, but neck and shoulders are killing me. So I'll get the headlines out of the way, and then I'm probably gonna get to bed early and just hopefully I wake up and it's not so bad. But I kind of have a feeling, because just one of those kind of been there before things. And tomorrow's gonna be a pain in the butt. But anyway, we'll deal with her as she comes, right? Let me get switched over here. Okay. It's all good. I just got my head up my butt. Uh-oh. Let's see. Your windows moved in the right places. Give me a sip of coffee. Okay. And I do have one from last night. I don't think I shared it on the show. And I wanted to make absolutely sure that I shared it because of what it is. Anyway, it's undercover. FBI informants played key role in plot to kidnap Michigan governor. Suspects claim as they accuse government of entrapment. And I'll tell you what, it is very, very interesting. Now, I listened to Timcast IRL last night, not tonight. He's still live now, but last night, and he had spoke of this, and he was talking about how this was an entrapment, what happened to them, and that in order for it to be entrapment, now this is what Tim says, that in order for him to, for it to be entrapment, that there has to be force or intimidation. Okay? Now, that's the first I'd ever heard of that. And I'm not saying he's correct or incorrect. I haven't personally looked it up again. I do know laws change. But I can tell you this, that when my dad was younger, when he was alive, but I mean when he was young, a cop couldn't park behind a billboard or something and obscure the vehicle, because if they were hidden, if you couldn't see that cop car, then that was entrapment, and you could get out of the ticket, right? That was entrapment. That simple. Them hiding like that was entrapment. Okay? So that's a far cry difference from what Tim explained it as. Now, perhaps I'm wrong, but that's what my dad always told me. And because my dad would point what it was, my dad would point it out to me about how they would kind of hide. And my dad would be like, they're not supposed to do that. So, I don't know. Maybe my dad was wrong, and I've always been, but I was told that was entrapment, and they weren't supposed to do stuff like that. Well, this was a hell of a lot more than that. And at a very minimum, the FBI are material witnesses. As in, not material witnesses, sorry, they are material witnesses, but they're material, I forget the terminology. But they're culpable in the crime. I mean, you can't do what they did and then put all the blame on these individuals. I mean, it's it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So, even if it doesn't fall under entrapment, man, I'm telling you, they're not supposed to do that. But they have been. In fact, let me point something out before we move on. Let me point something out. Many cases that we have heard in the past about how they've foiled terrorist attacks on this country, like the shoe bomber, the underwear bomber. You remember those? Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Pretty much the same thing. And the last I heard, there really hasn't been a single instance where the FBI did just out of the blue catch somebody. They'd always been involved in it. Interesting. Here's the thing that cracks me up. Whether or not somebody believes the FBI depends on their political affiliation and what the FBI is saying at the time. Think about that. Me? Well, I don't trust either political party, and I don't ever trust the FBI. Plain and simple. Sight for sore eyes, get this. Pornhub Classic Nudes Guide may soon be coming to an art museum near you. Man, I'm telling you. And you know what's next, right? You know what's next. Okay? You know how you go into places like Walmart and stuff like that, and they'll have little bitty restaurants, restaurants in them. So there'll be a little Hooters booth inside of museums now. So you'll be able to go go look at your Pornhub art and go get you a drink and a burger at Hooters. So, hey, why not? Babylon, anyone? WHO chief praises Olympics as celebration of hope, but says world must act faster, higher, and stronger with COVID-19 vaccinations. That almost sounds convincing, doesn't it? Nah. U.S. Senators Sanders, Murphy, and Lee introduced bipartisan bill to rein in presidential war powers and foreign weapons deals. A crime against humanity, Melbourne couple put behind bars for enslaving elderly woman for 8 years. Pardon me. No, that's not the cough. China buys less Saudi crude as it slams the brakes on oil imports. Russia Airlines signs deal for 15 Russian-built SSJ-100 aircraft at Make's 2021 air show. Seek safety in the EU. UK minister sends message to asylum seekers amid new migrant crisis. India reports nearly 4,000 coronavirus deaths, highest in a month, after its richest state revises figures. Russia using climate engineering to fight forest fires, sowing silver iodine into clouds from airplane to make it rain over blaze. Wait a minute. Geoengineering? No. Next, you're going to tell me they've been doing it since like the 50s. Actually, they may have done it since before then, but I'm positive of 50s. Snowden grills WAPO for embarrassingly weak reaction to NSO spyware scandal, says it's untrue Pegasus can't target U.S. phones. And I love how that headline is a bit confusing. What they're saying is absolutely Pegasus could target U.S. phones. And I'm sure they probably did. Terrifying moments, party turns sour with gunshots reported as Milwaukee fans mark first NBA Finals win in 50 years. Now, I didn't share that because of the sports, but what I tried my best to explain this to Patreon. I'll try again. You might be able to understand it. It might be common sense. I don't know. But it's a stadium, right? So number one, it's going to be in a major metropolitan city, correct? Do you know of too many stadiums that are in like the real high-end neighborhoods of major metropolitan cities? Now, I don't think they're usually like in the real bad parts, but usually, you know, there's a lot of bad stuff that does go on around stadiums. So what my point is here is, are they just pointing this out when normally it's not pointed out? Because as I recall, around stadium areas and stuff like that, stuff is always stupid. So it's nothing from my understanding. But I could be wrong. But also you got to realize I live, 30 miles or so from St. Louis, to where, yeah, there's probably going to be shootings around. I mean, it's probably going to happen. Brussels abusing power by taking legal action against Hungary, says Orban, vows 5-question referendum on LGBTQ plus law that drew ire. My biggest complaint at this point, I can't even say it anymore. It's getting too long. Can we, I don't know, unify the letters or something, and make it a little bit easier? Can we just say alphabet? Will that work? China's Henan province's emergency response level raised to second highest as it's hit by heaviest rain in 1,000 years. Russia's targeting of some opposition groups and media seems to be about links to hostile foreign states, not their support at home. Let's see. I just looked over saying U.S. raging war on Cuba. I have no doubt that there's U.S. elements involved in the things that are going on there. No doubt. There's a lot of things going on around the world that I have no doubt of U.S. involvement. A lot of destabilization going on, both abroad and right here at home as well. So I think something's up, and I think it's something global, and I've said that for quite some time now. I don't think it's what is happening by chance on any level, and it is happening in most every nation on the planet. I don't think it's by chance. I think they're pretty much trying to destabilize all these countries, and basically you keep hearing about it, the Great Reset. Well, that's what it is. And in order to do that, they pretty much have to destabilize all the nations. You got to get everybody to a point to where they're willing to sign on to something like that. So, as you can tell, in the United States, there's a lot of people that ain't up with that. And I mean a lot of people ain't up with that. So, they've got a lot of convincing to do, and they got to do it somehow. So, did I say that one? I don't know if I read this one. Russia's targeting of... Yeah, I did. Sorry. U.S., Japan, and South Korea stand shoulder to shoulder over policy towards North Korea. And I commented on this to Patreon today as well. This picture is more than just a picture. And I don't know how many people really pick up on that. This picture is a statement. I mean, it is a clear, defined statement. And it is to tell North Korea that U.S., Japan, and South Korea are literally standing shoulder to shoulder and ready to go to war right now. Now, the thing that I don't know if it has any significance, take it for what you will, but the lady from the U.S., and I'm sorry I don't know her name, wait a minute, Wendy Sherman. Sorry, Wendy Sherman. One arm is kind of tucked in behind her. Now, I'm not into all this stupidity stuff, and I'm not counting how many squares are on the floor and all that and trying to divide it by 32, and I'm not that kind of guy. But it is something to look at, and I don't know if that has any significance or not. However, I can tell you that's one hell of a statement. And I will say a bold statement, but when I use that word to describe it, I don't mean that, that's awful big of us to be standing up to them. No, I'm not saying that whatsoever. What I'm saying is they're firm. Maybe that's a better word. Firm. Very firm in what they're saying. There's just something about that image that really sticks out to me. So I would say keep an eye on the situation down there. Seriously, I think something's up. Global car maker Stellantis to produce Fiat vans in Russia. Beijing renews its call for Fort Detrick biolab probe as 4.7 million Chinese petition WHO to search in U.S. for COVID origins. Hang on, sip of coffee. And yes, it is coffee tonight. Yeah. Women ball gagged by men in Zuckerberg mask. Hey, I'm just reading the headline. As part of St. Petersburg flash mob protesting violent social media speech censorship. Yikes. Taiwan's major Buddhist group secures 5 million doses of Pfizer coronavirus shot, bringing nation's order of vaccine to 15 million. UNESCO strips Liverpool of World Heritage status over waterfront developments. Well, from my understanding, that would probably be a good thing. Entry denied. France's COVID-19 vaccine passport now required for museums, cinemas, or swimming pools. Get ready. I'm telling you, get ready. Because the last headline that I shared out, you know how they tell you that step's going to be a doozy? Yep. Let's see. Climate change is happening as wildfires destroy hectares. I don't know if I'm saying that word right or not. Of Siberian forest, local politician points finger at global warming. Is it hectares? Hello? Is it hectares? I don't know if she knows. I don't know. I've not heard that word. Well, I've heard it, but I can't remember how it was pronounced. Anyway, the sooner he goes, the better. Former top aide admits plotting to oust Boris Johnson from office weeks after getting him there. Team USA Olympic chiropractor apologizes after comparing COVID-19 restrictions to Nazi Germany. And you apologize, dude? For what? Were you not graphic enough about it, or... I wouldn't have apologized. There again, that is your job, not mine. Russian helicopters to ink deal at Makes 2021 air show to sell civilian choppers to UAE. With COVID-19 cases growing rapidly in Crimea, regional head warns that popular peninsula may close down entirely for tourists. Tunisia's government in chaos after PM condemns ex-health minister for dysfunction during COVID pandemic. Provocation. France slams Turkey Cypriot decision to reopen abandoned town of Arosha. Male, female, or X, Argentina to issue gender-neutral passports. South Africa's BioVac Institute strikes deal with BioNTech and Pfizer to produce 100 million COVID vaccines a year. By the way, I forgot to tell you that, last 2 days I've been telling you about this acceleration in the news. Yeah, it didn't stop. It's carrying on. So, just so you know. I would expect probably a whole hell of a lot of news again tomorrow. So keep an eye on our Twitter. And I'm not trying to get people, or I don't give a damn. We got Twitter followers. I don't care. But I put out the news on Twitter. If you want to see what it is I cover, I put it out all throughout the day on Twitter. Just go to our Twitter. Let's see. I don't tweet, or you know what I mean? I don't do the Twitter thing other than I put out news on it. So, if somebody says something on Twitter, hell, whatever. I just, share. That's my involvement on Twitter. Leeds City Council probes slave trade routes of parkin cake due to traditional treat being made with sugar, says the media. So, let me break this down for you, because I hope you're ready for this, and I hope you got a notebook and pen. Take some notes here. So, apparently, somehow, sugar was related to the slave trade, slavery, somehow. So, henceforth, since said delicacy has sugar for an ingredient, it's now bad. You shouldn't eat it. You shouldn't make it. You shouldn't have it. Ladies and gentlemen, sugar is now racist. And I don't know if I can argue that. Have you ever seen any sugar of color? I mean, I've seen some. I've seen some around Easter. I've seen some green sugar and some red sugar, but sugar is racist, man, and we need to accept it. Just saying. This. Where does it end? Oxygen? Is that next? Oxygen is racist? We should all just hold our breaths? I wonder if there are actual, like, real human beings that are actually behind this, or if it literally is just an agenda on paper that somebody feeding out there, and the gullible people, no pun intended, are eating it up. I kind of have a feeling that's what it is. And I think that happens for both sides, to be honest. I think that happens to the far left, and I think it happens to the far right. I think there are individuals out there that feed stuff. Because this is the most ridiculous crap plain and simple. Plain and simple. I'm not by any means saying we should forget about the horrific things that have been done in history. Absolutely not. But in a majority of the world, they're not happening now, and we look down heavily on places where they are. What more can we do? Going back to that destabilization I was talking about. Know what I mean? I don't know if I read this one or not. I'll read it again. It's short. Russian lumber producer suggests privatizing country's forests. Bear with us. Olympic security on alert as brown bear spotted on the loose near softball stadium. Just hours before first game. Notorious Russian spam king Peter Levashov sentenced to time served in U.S. after more than a decade of international cybercrime. Now, hang on. So this dude was involved in cybercrime for more than a decade. Like 15 years. And he's been locked up. He's been incarcerated a total of like 33 months. Okay? Just shy of 3 years. And even with all of the crapola going around with all the hacking of infrastructure, some judge grants this cat time served. Cuts him loose. Nah, I don't know what's wrong with this country. Ain't got a clue. But I'll be damned if we can't stop shooting unarmed people in the street. That's just not something we can figure out how to stop doing. Missouri Legislative Committee condemned after hearing on teaching of critical race theory featured no black participants. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is something I wouldn't have overlooked. That is kind of a problem. To me, this whole committee thing's a problem, but whatever. I mean, it never gets anything done. It just doesn't. never accomplishes a thing. No matter how much diversity you have on the committees, nothing ever gets accomplished. So it's just a fact. Rebellion in Westminster. Tory MPs say they'll defy Boris Johnson and vote against illiberal vaccine passports. By the way, if you curious about that, go ask the folks that live in Ferguson. Ask them, Ferguson, Missouri. Ask them if anything has changed since the whole Michael Brown thing. Go ahead. And they had committees and this and that and you name it. Not a damn thing's changed. Ask them. A data leak exposes passwords and login information of Tokyo Olympics ticket buyers and volunteers, says reports. Fake vaccination, at least 800 people jabbed with water after buying COVID vaccine from scammers in Uganda. French PM warns 96% of new COVID cases are among unvaccinated citizens. India hails successful trials of surface-to-air and anti-tank missiles amid indigenous weapons push. Probably to protect against Biden's F-15s. Olympic officials banned social media accounts from showing athletes taking knee at Tokyo 2020, says reports. We cannot go on as we are. UK Brexit minister demands new Northern Ireland deal with EU. Russia launches Nauka multifunctional scientific lab module to International Space Station from Baikonur Cosmodrome. Tunisian army to take control of COVID crisis as country grapples with healthcare system failures. Spain arrests 22-year-old Briton on foot of U.S. request over Bitcoin scam that compromised high-profile Twitter accounts. Washington shoots down Turkey's two-state solution for Cyprus as standoff on disputed island intensifies. Saudi Aramco says its data being held for $50 million in ransom on dark web points finger at contractor. Pelosi boots two Republicans off Capitol Hill riot committee. GOP responds by pulling out of sham investigation altogether. New York City enveloped by haze from wildfire smoke all the way from West Coast as air quality hits worst in 14 years. Olympics off to virtue sealing flyer as Aussies show Aboriginal flag and footballers take knee. So, yeah. U.S. confirms deal with Germany to... By the way, I don't believe... But the Olympics, really? Is there one place that we can just leave alone? I mean, really. I mean, the Olympics would have been nice just to leave that alone. Why not? Why can't we have one thing where we don't have to do anything but be what we've always been? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. U.S. confirms deal with Germany to allow completion of Nord Stream 2 pipeline with Russia. No good reason. Norway beach handball stars vent frustrations after being slapped with fines for not wearing bikini bottoms. Now, at first when I read this, I'm like, wait a minute here. There's got to be something that I am not seeing right, or maybe my mind is just wanting to visualize this differently than what it is. Probably the latter, because as it turns out, there were some of them, I guess, that were going, or they wanted to wear shorts. They were shorts. So, yeah, it's not that they were nude, so get your mind out of the gutter. I know, it sucks. I had to as well. They wore shorts. They chose to wear shorts instead of the bikini bottoms, and so that's why people are all in a tizzy because, well, they couldn't see their asses. Sorry, yo. Rand Paul, I mean, doesn't that say something, though? I thought about that, and I'm like, man, that really says something. That really says something. You know what? I enjoy watching beach volleyball. For some reason, I enjoy the hell out of watching beach volleyball. Now, and I enjoy watching the women. Why? I mean, the men are competitive, but the women are amazing. Amazing. And like Olympics beach volleyball is just incredible. Well, anyway, I don't watch it to see their asses. I watch it because holy hell, man, that is some incredible talent. And I don't know why, I just enjoy watching it. It has nothing to do with that, and I wouldn't care if they were wearing shorts or jumpsuits. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care in the least. I don't. So, to me, this says a lot about these folks. If they were willing to throw a fit. Why? Why do you need to see them in a bikini? I'll wait for a good answer. Maybe I'm wired different, but I'd be good with them in shorts. Rand Paul to make criminal referral to DOJ after accusing Fauci of lying to Congress regarding gain-of-function virus research. Greek police blast anti-vaccine protesters with water cannon and tear gas outside Parliament in Athens. Johnson & Johnson, leading U.S. drug distributors, agree to $26 billion settlement with states over their roles in opioid epidemic. Harvey Weinstein, movie mogul who gave rise to Me Too movement, pleads not guilty to sex crime charges in California. Feds slap Ohio incel with hate crime and weapons charges over alleged revenge slaughter plot. Sorry. Guitarist Eric Clapton says he'll cancel shows at venues that discriminate by requiring vaccination. Right on, Eric Clapton. Federal judge halts enforcement of Arkansas ban on surgeries, hormones, and puberty blockers for transgender kids. And this was that last one that I was talking about. So, you know how they tell you to be careful because the next step's a doozy? No need to worry about a federal vaccine mandate, Fauci says. Local entities will likely do the job of forcing COVID-19 jabs. So he's telling you what you can expect. And I would say, yeah. You know, and of course this isn't going to be everywhere, but let's just break it down and be honest. The liberal states are going to go probably to a forced mandated vaccination, and the conservative states won't. Let's see how it plays out. That's my guess. That's my guess is what's going to happen. Now, that's my guess as to their plan of what's going to happen. Not saying that's how it's going to turn out. We'll just have to see. Anyway, I don't have anything else for you. That will pretty much cover it. I'm going to get out of here and get everything I need to get ready to go to bed, and I am going to go to bed. So, because I am hurting, and hopefully I feel better tomorrow. Anyway, I hope you all have a good evening. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. Should be another update video for the grow tent tomorrow. So, fun times. So, anyway, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.